Yeah, I know you had mentioned like earlier that tools like from companies like Microsoft are still used predominantly across business industry as a whole, and how they haven't really moved into the next generation. And I know you're working on building those solutions, but how do you think about, let's say, a Microsoft which has acquired a company like GitHub? So obviously they're thinking about those things too, which is positive, and I guess also validates a lot of what you're working on. Um, are do you think they're gonna, wanting to encroach on what you're doing as well? How do you think about that?
Yeah, I think this is a situation that's likely a classic disruption scenario. Microsoft Office, and in our case, Microsoft Word, is an amazing document editor. For creating and writing, there is really no better tool, and they've been working on it for 40 years. But Microsoft Word is, while it's great at document editing, is terrible at document management, and it's terrible at document collaboration. And that's because, as I mentioned, it was designed for a time in which collaboration and management happened in person, often in a meeting. And still, a lot of the world up until I think a couple of years ago was working that way. And so Microsoft didn't need to change the product because they have been monetizing a very successful formulation for many, many years. But as with these trends that we've seen start to sweep the world, and especially during COVID, where everybody had to go digital and distributed, whether they liked it or not. What we're seeing now is people realize that there are other and better modalities for getting work done beyond having everybody in the same place at the same time. And we think about Almanac as a cultural choice, not just a productivity tool, because what Almanac really represents are ideas about how work should get done. We believe that you don't need to be in the same place in order to achieve great things as a team. We believe that people should be able to get into a flow state and really spend their days focusing on work that matters instead of trying to just stay organized in all these overhead activities. We believe that people shouldn't have to burn out in order to be productive. And if you look at what's happened in the past year, these aren't just our beliefs. These are facts that are borne out now. In that when you just try and impose the old way of working with lots of meetings and lots of messages and disconnected tools on top of the new modality where people are distributed and working in the cloud, you see burnout happening in mass. You see people quitting their jobs in mass. There literally are not enough people who want to go to work these days to staff companies. And we think that is entirely because work is not working for a lot of people anymore. And
Hmm.
so what we're building at Almanac is infrastructure that supports a different and we think better way of working, one that's more attuned to the way that people live and want to work now. And so, we see Almanac as a orange to Microsoft's Apple. And we don't think everybody will want to switch over, but we think companies that will win in this new century, where work is digitalized and distributed, will need to change how they collaborate and will need to change how they manage. And we at Almanac are offering infrastructure for those winners.
Gotcha. That's amazing. I love it, and I think you guys are going to find a lot of success. Um, Microsoft, they had the opportunity prior to the to start working on those functionalities, those features, but they didn't. And now you guys are really cruising along, building out great functionality and feature sets for the future of work, and they have to play a little bit of catch up on that. And we all know massive organizations can take time to make moves. I mean, that was the case in the past with Microsoft. You know, and
Uh,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, and I guess what I would say to that is, when it comes to word processing and document editing, our hope is that we offer a as good, hopefully better solution than Microsoft. But really, where Almanac adds value to companies that Microsoft we think never will is in helping to integrate all the functionality you need to go from start to finish on basic types of collaboration. And so we think you shouldn't need 5 or 6 different tools like Slack and Asana and Zoom and your email, in addition to your word processor, in order to do simple things like get feedback or update documentation or get analytics on who read something. And we
Gotcha.
think all of that should be deeply integrated into the place where the work is, because the minute you separate collaboration from where you're actually creating work, then it takes a lot of manual management to try and coordinate and connect everything together. And
Definitely.
so we believe the secret sauce is actually integrating collaboration and all the things people are already doing today in other tools right into your document editor, so that you can streamline the amount of overhead work you do and then have more time to focus on things that matter.
I love